If you hood educated, I'm glad you made it. Allow me to unfold my knowledge, wisdom, and understanding from a hood brother's point of view to all of you, here, there, and everywhere. Now check me out.
It's happening today, back in the courtroom this afternoon for the Tupac murder trial. More witnesses are expected to testify today as Shakur was gunned down. Tupac Shakur gunned down in that drive-by shooting just off the Las Vegas Strip nearly 30 years ago. It was after this fight that you're seeing right there on your screen. It's taking place at the MGM Grand after that Mike Tyson boxing match. The only person ever charged in this case is the guy who's inside the downtown courtroom in Las Vegas, Keefe Davis. Prosecutors accuse the former leader of the Southside Compton Crips of orchestrating the killing after his nephew, Orlando Anderson, was beaten up inside the MGM Grand after that fight. Now, we saw the state call several witnesses to testify, including the former chief of security for Death Row Records, Reggie Wright Jr., and a former member of a rival gang. As Keefe Davis is facing the charges there inside the courtroom, prosecutors say that for those Death Row Records employees taking the stand, denying any role in Tupac's killing, while another reluctantly testified about the gang rivalry surrounding the case. Christian Drummond was there with more on the heated exchange.
Did you have anything to do with the murder of Tupac Shakur?
Absolutely not.
Reggie Wright Jr. on the stand, the former head of security at Death Row Records in a motor scooter, denying he gunned down Tupac Shakur, testifying he was at Club 662 when two men he knows informed him of the drive-by shooting off the Las Vegas Strip that hit the rap icon and Death Row Records co-founder Marion Suge Knight nearly 30 years ago.
They came inside the club. They came straight to me. It was like Reggie, Suge, and Pac just got shot down the street.
Wright testifying he went to the hospital, organizing security outside Shakur's room for the days that followed until he died.
Well, I'm the one that actually received his ashes.
Wright among the witnesses called Tuesday by the state in the murder trial, including former Mob Piru member James McDonald, associated with the Bloods gang. He testified working security as well at Club 662 the night of the shooting under the direction of Knight, but separate from Wright and his staff.
Was Reggie with you when you found out that Tupac and Suge were shot?
Yes. If Reggie killed Tupac, then Death Row is over with.
McDonald making clear he was court-ordered to appear, telling jurors he did not want to testify, at times showing reluctance to discuss the past, including tension between rival gangs, Southside Compton Crips, led by the defendant Keefe Davis, and the Mob Piru, who were associated with Death Row Records.
Do I answer this?
That's a straightforward question. That's a yes or no answer.
Okay.
Did you see that?
When I was a part of that life, I was a part of that. And I was, no, because you asking something that's going to hurt this dude.
Before leaving the stand, McDonald spoke directly to Davis.
What you're going through, brother, is what you're going through. I didn't want to be a part of that, and I'm not a part of that.
Now, I got to be 100 with y'all concerning this Tupac trial. The most damaging evidence that I see, thus far coming out in the whole trial thus far is Keefe D's own words, right? And, a lot of people look at that, and say, well, hey, man, if he confessed to the murder of Tupac, then that's all we need, right? But I believe that there's a lot more to this story than just his confession, right? It has to deal with not him pulling the trigger himself, but him giving the gun to the trigger man to kill Tupac Shakur. Now, the cold-blooded part about that is this right here. A lot of people might look at that and say, well, damn, all he did was hand him the gun. He didn't do it himself. And I understand that right there because, to a layman person, to a person that ain't, had never been in the criminal judicial system or don't even know nothing about the laws and stuff like that, you would think that he didn't do it, right? But that's not how the law go, y'all. The law says that if you participate in a crime in any type of way, no matter how minute that participation is, you are as guilty as if you killed the person yourself or whatever crime that the person committed. You are just as guilty as them. And that's what we're looking at right now. they done played his tapes, right? They done played his confessions, where he done broke down everything, how they coordinated the hit to kill Tupac, how they got the gun to go kill Tupac, how they was looking for Tupac, hunting for him and looking for him and stuff like that. They got all that. So this right here should be a open and closed case. But it all depends. It all depends on how the jury look at it. Because we got to understand something. This right here was 1,000 years ago. This happened a long time ago. And this man right here is 63 years old. So, the jury might have some sympathy for him and say, hey, man, he really ain't do it. He was living that life back in his day and stuff like that. So, hey, we'll get an old guy a break. He done had cancer and all type of stuff. He probably ain't got that much longer to live and everything like that. We'll give the old guy a break. But we got to understand something. The law is the law. And some people might be feeling like we'll give the guy a break, but there's other people that's on the jury that's going to be like, nah, nail him. He committed a murder. That's against the law. He got to go to jail. We don't care how old he is. And the cold-blooded part that we can learn about all this right here is this, y'all. All that stuff that you done did back in your day that you think you done got away with, it can come back to hunt you. Yeah, it can come back to hunt you. And for a lot of brothers, that right there is scary. For a lot of sisters, that right there is scary because, if you lived that life before, you know what you participated in. You know what you done did and got away with. You know what you done participated in and your friends and your cousins and everybody done got away with. You know that. You see what I'm saying? And for him right now, this is a complete nightmare. And the reason why it's a nightmare is because they're going to use his own words against him. That's the worst of it. It's not like somebody else saying that, hey man, that. No, they're using his own words against him. And to corroborate his own words, they are using other gang members and stuff like that. Check it out.
Heated today between attorneys and witnesses. James McDonald, also known as Mob Janes, announcing that he should be treated as a hostile witness, reiterating several times that he did not want to testify, but was forced to because of a subpoena. Now, he did speak about the tensions back in 1996, especially Compton after the murder of Tupac Shakur. And at one point, he addressed Davis directly.
The next question I'm asking you is, when you went back to Compton, was it like a Southside Crip that shoots a Pyru Blood, and then a Pyru Blood shoots a Southside Crip? Is that the tension that we're talking about?
Do I answer this? When we got back to Compton,
Okay.
it was a gang war.
But my question to you,
Stop.
Can you focus on me for a second, sir?
Yeah, I will. Talk to your lawyer, man. This dude is tripping. And what I explained to them, I don't want to send him to prison.
Sure.
Even though we don't like each other.
Sure.
I don't want to send you to prison. So that's why I'm here where I'm at and the way I am. Because I changed my life. I'm raising my grandkids. I'm teaching them never to be like their papa. And here I am explaining to people what I used to be. And I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of that at all.
We're aware of that. There have been some conspiracy theories that Reggie Wright Jr. is responsible for the murder of Tupac.
And it's so not true. His father was implicated, and his father had something to do with it. Reggie Wright used to be a police officer. And here again, I've been knowing Reggie Wright over 50 years. His daddy, as a police officer, patrolling my neighborhood. He done took me to jail many times when I messed up. If Reggie killed Tupac, then death row is over with. Tupac was the money source. Tupac was that guy at death row. So Reggie would have had a problem if he would have did that. And Suge, I truly believe Suge would have opened his mouth if Reggie betrayed him like that. So people say what they want to say.
Do you stick around in Las Vegas, or do you go back to Compton?
Well, I stayed in Vegas, and we left that morning because we knew we was going to have neighborhood issues, and everybody left and went back to Compton.
Why were you thinking you might have neighborhood issues?
Well, you asking me some. The issues that we was having was heated, and Compton was on fire at the time, and things were happening. And me personally, staying in Vegas wasn't worth it. That man in the hospital, it's time to go and protect your home front and be prepared for whatever happened there. You know what I'm saying? Like the other side was being prepared and was prepared to do things because Orlando got beat up in there. And that's something you don't tolerate. So you was going to get some repercussion from that and everything else that was going on. So living this life, you got to be ready. If you not, you might as well just lay down.
Are you aware of why Orlando was targeted?
I'm aware of a lot of things. Things that was going on. People ain't talked about it in 30 years. Today ain't one of them. I don't mean to be funny, but here's the thing. A lot of things happened that night. A lot of things happened weeks and weeks after that night. Me or anybody else bringing up the dead is wrong.
Y'all see what I'm saying? So now they got Mob James up there. From my understanding, from Mob Piru, he's a gangster. You know, even though he used to live that life, it's still in him. He's a gangster. He know he shouldn't even be up there. That's why he's trying not to say anything that would incriminate Keefe D. Even though, you know, Tupac was his homie and Tupac was a part of Mob Piru and stuff like that, he don't want to say nothing like that to put that man in jail. You know, this is gangster stuff. Now, some people might look at that, you know, and say, hey, man, that's a good thing. But no, because you got to think about what the prosecution is saying. You got to think about how the jury is looking at that. The jury is looking at that like, oh, wait a minute. He knows that Keefe D had something to do with Tupac being killed, but he don't want to tell us because that's gang politics. Those are gang rules and regulations. You see what I'm saying? So even though he believe in his mind, Mob James, he think that, yeah, I'm helping him. And in a way he is, but at the same time, he could be damaging them too. He could be putting them away too, because you got to think about it. Hey, look, you get up there talking about you're going to be a hostile witness and all that. Wait a minute, hold on. You can't do that. Not according to the jury. They want to hear the story. They want to know what's going on. And being that you connected to a violent gang in California, hey, and he's connected to a violent gang in California, and y'all was rivals, y'all was killing each other. You understand what I'm saying? And then, you know, he even said something about, you know, the situation with Keefe D and Tupac. So you did associate him with Tupac's murder? No, it's not looking good for Keefe D. Because you got people like that, you know, you got the ex-policeman getting on the stand, and then you got his own words that's gonna try to bury him. You see, because like his own words, you know, they came in court and it's talking about like, you know, even though he passed, you know, his cousin or his nephew the gun to, you know, to kill Tupac. He said that if he had been on the right side, he'd have pulled the gun and he would have shot Tupac himself because he had the gun initially. So that's telling everybody that, look, being that he had the gun initially, he was going to put that work in. But being that he couldn't get over there, then that's why he gave the gun to his nephew or his cousin or whoever it is, you know, to kill Tupac, and that's what happened. Now, some of the things that he got going good for him in this situation is this right here. The book that came out where he supposed to have confessed to the whole thing, he's saying he didn't write that book. He said that, you know, he gave somebody the rights to write that book, and when they wrote it, they embellished and said, hey, look, this what happened, that what happened, and he said, okay, yeah, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, so he can sell more books. This is entertainment. Not only that, he is saying that, hey, all the interviews I did where I confessed to killing Tupac or having anything to do with that, that was all entertainment. I'm trying to sell books. I'm trying to get views. I'm trying to get money. You see what I'm saying? So he do got something good for him, but I believe that, you know, the people that's going against him, I believe that's where he gonna find a lot of trouble at. Now, if I'm to be 100 with y'all, I believe that the prosecution case is weak. Look, I ain't gonna lie. You know, Tupac, my guy, you know, we Geminis and everything like that. But I just think that that case is weak. You know, the guy that supposedly had killed Tupac is dead. Right? He died in the gang war that they was having. You know? So, I believe that it's weak. You know, I mean, I understand the law and all that and how it goes, but I just believe that it's weak. And the reason why I say that is because, like, to me, if Keefe D is saying, if he's agreeing and saying that, yeah, I confessed to it. I said it in the book. Yeah, I said it in interviews, but that was all cap. I was lying. I was lying about the whole thing. I'm trying to get money. Not only that, I've been lying about this for years and ain't never been arrested. I'm talking about, because he been on interview, wrote a book, all type of stuff. Homicide detectives been looked at the case and they never charged him. You see what I'm saying? So I believe that the case is not a slam dunk. It's not a strong case, being that it has a lot to do with entertainment and stuff like that, that the jury gonna have a hard time with this one. Because it's like, wait a minute. Even his attorneys are saying that, yeah, he confessed to it, but that was a lie. He was just trying to get money. He was just trying to sell a book. His own words he used. There's nothing else that they can prove that he was there. There's nothing that they got that they can prove to say that he actually did it or that he actually handed him the gun or none of that type of stuff. But they do have his own words. So I believe that that's where the battle is going to come at. His defense attorney got to pound it in. Hey, look, this was cap. This was a lie. And he got to be able to prove that. Because the prosecution, they trying to prove that, nah, he telling the truth now, and he was telling the truth then, that he confessed because he actually had something to do with it. That's how this thing gonna go. Because the prosecution ain't got a gun, but we got to be 100. Probably in 90% or 95% of all murder cases, they don't have the gun. They have the victim that was shot that proves that he got shot by a gun. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, the prosecution don't have a gun. They don't have no DNA. They don't have any physical evidence. They don't even have no eyewitnesses to the murder. You see what I'm saying? They don't have no fingerprints or nothing like that. It's going to be an uphill battle for the prosecution because, look, this case is what? 30 years old? What's that? 96, 2006, 2000? Yeah, 20 years old. This case is old. You see what I'm saying? So being that, 30 years old, this case is old. And being that this case is that old, you got to think like, wait a minute. He been saying this stuff back then. You see, Keefe D been saying, yeah, you know, I did this or we did that back then. You see what I'm saying? All that time. And now all of a sudden, now, hey, you know what? Hey, we got him. What evidence do the prosecution have right now that they didn't have back then? You see? And I believe that's going to be tough for a jury to come back with a verdict. Because they knew it back then. Yeah, Tupac got killed. Rest in peace to that brother. Unfortunate. Keefe D, nephew, a little cousin or whatever, he got killed within the war and all that. Rest in peace to him as well. And everybody that fell, you know, with that war. But can they prove that Keefe D actually did something to get Tupac killed? His words alone, hey, he said that a long time ago. So that's why I believe that that's going to be tough. Now, had the prosecution came up with the murder weapon and said, hey, we got the gun that killed Tupac, that's something different. You see what I'm saying? Usually when we dealing with cold cases like the Tupac murder, usually it be something tangible, some type of physical or material evidence attaching someone to the crime. DNA evidence, stuff like that, fingerprints, you know, guns, knives, something, you know what I'm saying? A recording. I'm talking about with them actually doing it where they can see that, hey, this is Keefe D. He shot out the car. Stuff like that. And they don't got that, you know. But hey, you know, look, we still fresh into the trial. I'm gonna try to follow it as much as I can. And you know, I guess we're gonna see, you know, but from my standpoint, I believe the case is weak. Y'all get in the comments and y'all let me know what y'all think about this whole demonstration. Do y'all think the case is strong against Keefe D, or do y'all think the case is weak? This is Hood Educated, not Lame Related. Peace and love, and y'all take care of yourself out there. If I said anything that caused you to think, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And if you're feeling generous, please make a small donation to the channel. Peace and love.